If you're trying to grow your business right now, but you're a bit stuck, there's usually a few things getting in the way. But what most people don't realize is it usually comes back to one thing, and that's your systems. The videos you see on YouTube are around this one tactic that will make you millions. And it's usually just not the case. But what if your business was actually organized? What if your team felt more empowered to do the things you've hired them to do? And what if you had more visibility on your business to know what's going well and what's not? I know that would feel better than probably how you're feeling right now. Maybe you're working constantly. Maybe you cannot stop thinking about all the problems that are going wrong. Deep down, you know it isn't sustainable, but you keep pushing anyway with the sales, with the marketing, because you think if I can just get more people in the door, eventually I can solve the problem. But then you also keep putting your systems down the list as I'll get to it later, and later never comes because there's always going to be new problems. There's always going to be things that will come up and stop you from doing it. I've been there and I know my clients have too. And I want this video to basically stop that from happening and give you the insight as to what's worked for so many people that I've worked with. And if you're serious about getting out of the weeds of your business and actually taking it to the next level, then just sit down and watch this video. I've also got a one-page business hub that can basically run your business on one single page. It's not overcomplicated. It will take you 30 minutes to properly implement, and it's completely free. So I'll leave that in the first link in the description to get you started on that too. There are obviously a lot of problems that people run into when they're getting their business moving forward. And especially once you get past a certain point, you tend to find the same problems come about. And it's that something is getting in the way of you moving to the next stage of your business. And we had this a few times when we were running ours. Our sort of plateau periods were the 3K, the 6K mark, and then the 20K mark. Those were the three that really hit us quite hard, and that we had to spend months actually working out how to get those to the place that we were wanting to get to. At that point though, there's going to be different problems that you're going to have to solve and different things you're going to have to actually figure out first to make that happen. So I'm going to bring to light what those problems usually are, and they're just going to be at different capacities for you. So you're going to follow along with me. I've got a little demonstration of what this is, and then I've also got a framework that I want you to follow that is going to actually completely solve this for you in the future, and you're going to be able to do it. I'm a big fan of medieval war, learning about the Ottomans, the Romans, and so much more, and I want to bring this in. So if you're not interested in this, it does relate to business. It's just something that I'm interested in, and I think it can be a good visual for you. Now, treat your business as though you are currently under siege. That's where a lot of you will be right now. You don't know what a siege is? Essentially, you can protect your city or your castle by enclosing it in walls and closing all the doors, creating moats and creating ditches, and you've got an attacker that is trying to take over. Now, a lot of things can happen during a siege. Usually it's a wait out period to see who runs out of food first, who basically crumbles, who can actually outlast the other. Now, within your business right now, you're getting hit from so many different areas. You're getting hit from the water, you're getting hit from the land, you're getting hit from ladders and sides that people are trying to climb up onto your castle, into your city to take you over. So many moving parts, there's so many decisions that you have to make as the ruler of this place, and because you're under siege, you're terrified. You are making wrong decisions, you are not actually being decisive, and you don't have clear visibility of what is going on. That's the thing most people don't realize, is that it's not just a tough period of time in your business. You are probably under siege at the moment. Unless you do something about it, you're going to have to forfeit that castle and you're going to have to forfeit that business because you simply don't have the mental resource or capacity to continue. In any good story, what truly wins the battle when it comes to sieges and when it comes to the winning of business is going to be through our strategy. Now, there's usually two things that are going to accompany this, and that's the advisors and the troops. Now, your advisors are what we're going to treat as your systems and your processes behind the scenes. This is what is happening to help us make all of those smart decisions, to help us actually decide what is right and what is wrong for our business. Not every decision needs to be made, but we need to make sure that we've got something in place that allows us to make the best decision as much as we can. And the troops in our army that we've got that are working for us use what we've learned from the advisors and puts it into action. So all the little tools, the day-to-day things, people, the processes, the systems that we use to get feedback on what's going on. And this is the cycle that so many of you are stuck in. You're constantly under siege, but you don't even realize it. And you're slowly getting starved to the point where you will have to forfeit and say you're either burnt out, I don't even want to run businesses anymore, or this isn't what I signed up for. So we're going to take back the castle and we're going to learn how we can actually handle being under siege. So to help you understand this further, I've created the Stickman Framework. Now, we're going to go over to the Stickman himself. He's looking fucking cool. But I'm going to break this down one by one because it will make sense. And we're going to treat this guy as our soldier and one of the people in our army. First thing that we're going to have to do is understand the vision of the company. Most people think about the vision as just, here's where we want to go. But it's so much more than that. Your vision is what drives everything forward. Why do you want to do what you're doing? Why should the team actually buy in to what's going on? And that also includes yourself, because many of you don't have a vision that's actually clear. You don't know whether you want to sell the business. You don't know whether you want to grow to be the CEO of 150 employees all over the world. You don't know if you want location freedom. There are so many questions that you need to be answering when it comes to that. And if you are wanting questions that you could answer and you're maybe thinking, Andy, I don't actually have some questions, I've got some that I can send you. I'll put it as a link in the description as well, alongside the One Page Business Hub. And you can take the questions, because if you answer those, that's going to help so much. Now, I've put a few parts at the side of this brain of what we're looking for, because this is going to be the brain of our guy. And this is your offer and your operational focus. When you have this vision, you need to be able to understand what the offer alongside that is. Because if you have a vision for something and your offer doesn't match what you're actually working towards, what is truly the point of all of it? You will be talking to the wrong person. You will not be bringing in the right people because your vision doesn't align with what your offer is. And that's what leads us on to that next point that we've got for the brain, is the operational focus. So if we know where we're aiming for and we know our offer is strong related to that person, we then need to know, okay, well, what is operationally our focus for this company? Where should our mind be going to actually make us move forward and to actually help us get to where we want to go? Because again, operations can be everything and anything. You can do so many different things, but you have to stick to the ones that are genuinely going to help you make decisions quickly and make them decisive enough that you're not wasting time and twiddling your thumbs doing nothing. This is what brings us down to the body of our troop. And this is three different things. This is the feedback loop, team roles, and process mapping. We're going to start with the feedback loop to begin with. Whenever you are introducing any form of system, you need to understand that it has to have some sort of feedback loop. If you do not consistently review how things are going, you are going to be in the mud every time, purely because you'll do it for a month, everyone will kind of be buzzing about it, and then 3 months in, when other things come up, you just let it die. And if we don't have a way to bring in feedback loops on a consistent basis within the team, within our clients, we are going to have problems after problems. Because again, if we bring it back to this example of the siege, and maybe someone is sending out a small army to a particular section of the castle, if they target that area and we fend them off and we don't learn from that, they're just going to come back to that same spot because they understand that it's a weak spot. And that's exactly like your business. People are going to find those weak spots and it's just going to keep attacking it until you learn how to actually revise that again and again, so that when they come back, you're always ready. You know what's going to happen. This is what leads us into the team roles, because you need your team and you need the people who are working with you to understand what their team responsibilities are. They need to know what's happening. They need to understand what they are responsible for. And finally, probably the one that most miss out on, but is one of the most important things that you can do, doing what is called process mapping. I'm going to show you like an easy example of what process mapping is. This is an example I give to clients where we go directly from the funnel to the sale, all the way to the cross-sell, down-sell. So this is like the offboarding if people are offboarding. Now in here, this is where you break down, okay, where do they come from for your funnel? What happens when they send in an application? What happens when they book a sales call? What happens? Is it a 1-call close, a 2-call close? What happens if it's a no, a yes? What do you do with the sale? What's your onboarding like? By doing this, everyone in your team is going to be able to understand what's actually happening and when. What's going on in the business and what's actually taking hold with what's going on. Now I realise now I should have probably just put a sword here if it was going to be a troop, but now we have Merlin in our team and he's got a wand, because there's 2 other areas a part of this process mapping that can be really, really crucial to make it work well. And this is the handoff clarity, because the biggest problem that you usually see in any business is when the handoff goes from, let's say, onboarding to delivery, and it's 2 different people, that's when communication can break down. So if you have people responsible for doing these things and updating them, this can give really good clarity and make you a top 1% delivery process. And the second one is your tool stack. So kind of like the operational focus, this works hand in hand with this tool stack, because our whole Stickman needs to be fully prepped for everything that we're doing. So choosing the tools that work best for you is going to be really important here. Stop wasting so much money on tools that aren't actually doing anything for you. Choose one or two platforms that are your key platforms to use. Build on things that are actually going to save you more time, make you more money, or help clarity with the business. I've found companies that can do 30, 40, 50K with minimal tools. You do not need to buy everything. You do not need everything flashy. You also do not need the industry standard, because things like HubSpot are ridiculously expensive and you do not need to buy those when you're not handling hundreds of thousands of people. It's the same as some other platforms. So just be wary of what you're spending your money on, because when we've got the power here of what we're spending money on, we should not be wasting all of it on tools that we're never going to use. We've looked at the vision and the sort of main body of what's going on. This is where we're tying it all together with the key of what we're actually looking for. Now, this isn't something crazy. This isn't something that's the most mental thing you've ever seen in your life. We've got three things here. We've got the buy-in, accountability, and scoreboards. Now, the buy-in is simple. If you've given people team roles, if you've got a process mapping of everything that's going on, and you've got a way of having your vision and your feedback loop in place, if you don't have the buy-in, not only of yourself, but the team, it is going to fail faster than you'd like to think. You need people to believe in what your vision is. And it's not to say that they have to be bought in the same way that you do. Because if you're the business owner and you are the one that runs everything, people probably aren't going to be bought in just as much as you are. They might not own the same stakes, and that's okay. If you don't have the buy-in of your people, you are going to have such a hard time getting them to go over and above with what you're wanting them to do. Not in a way that they're not going to do a good job, but you need them to believe in you, because you're that leader, you're that visionary, you're the one that wants to make this business successful. So if you don't have the buy-in in the team, everything crumbles. It doesn't matter if you've got a process map or team roles or a feedback loop, because if they don't care about them, they're not going to care about actually pushing it forward and making it better, and that's what you're looking to do. The second one goes hand in hand with the feedback loop. You need to hold people accountable for this. Now, I've met a lot of people in companies who are more of like the visionary. And what I would say a visionary is someone who has a lot of ideas, a lot of things that this is how we're going to improve the business. This is how we're going to get to that next stage. And the problem with that is when it comes to holding people accountable, it tends to be that they want to say it once and expect them to do it for the rest of time. But people is one of the hardest things about business. And if you know how to hold people accountable and keep them consistently accountable in a way that doesn't feel terrible or doesn't feel bad, this is such a fantastic way of allowing all of these things to consistently improve. And that's what we're looking to do. And this is where we finally get to the scoreboards. Now, the scoreboards themselves are really straightforward. It's your way to track how things are going with what you're actually looking to achieve. Let me show you an example of one of what I mean, and something that's really straightforward. This is just the template that we use to show it. This is some of the things that you could be wanting to keep track of. It could be sales calls booked, it could be applications, it could be new email signups, it could be number of posts on social media and YouTube and all of that sort of stuff. This is where you are able to keep track with all of the team of what's going on, of what's happening, of what needs to be done, of what needs to be tracked, to ensure we are seeing, okay, where are the gaps? What is happening? Where in the siege are we actually failing at the moment? Because there's multitudes of points in our business that we are struggling with on a consistent basis. And because you're not looking at the advisory board to help with the systems and the processes, and because you're sending the troops to basically do anything that they feel like, your business and your castle will be taken. There will be only so much that your guy can take before he says, you know what, I'm not doing this anymore. So many of you are probably under siege and you don't even realize it, that you're getting attacked from multiple different places and you're not prioritizing the decisions that need to be made. And that's usually because we're not doing these things that are on the screen. You've not got a vision. You've not got your process delivery mapped out. You don't have a way to have a feedback loop for your clients, for your team, to see how they're getting on and what can be improved. You don't hold them accountable. They're not even bought into the vision, and you have no way of tracking whether or not things are going well. So how could you possibly expect your business to be successful when these aren't even happening? When you're not even doing the basics, you're not even breaking down what needs to be done in order to make this successful. As I've said, I've got a one-page business hub that already simplifies the way to keep track of like tasks, calls, and things that you're doing. That can get you started. I'm wanting to create more videos on creating all the things with the process map and the vision and stuff like that. So I'll leave as much as I can in the description to basically help you get this started. This is something you need to be thinking about more. This is something you need to be taken seriously, because if you don't, your business will fail. I have watched so many businesses over the last 3 years, whilst I've been working with them, whilst I've been trying to help them, fail because of this. So don't allow that to happen. Don't wait until that's the case. Stop putting it off because you think it can wait until next year. It can't. It needs to be happening now, and you need to take action. I know the video on the screen right now will be something you'll love to watch, and I'll see you there.